Grunge lyrics didn't just complain about life. They quietly documented a generation breaking down in real time. In this video, I want to go inside the words of bands like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, not just as a fan, but almost like a sociologist and psychologist. We'll look at what their lyrics say about society, about our inner lives, and why these songs still feel uncomfortably true today. Welcome to Dissonant Mind, and on this channel we explore ideas, movements, and music that define who we are. Today we go deeper into grunge lyrics, their themes and the meanings, alienation, masculinity, mental health, and that strange mix of apathy and rage that defined the early 90s. I'll be using examples from the so-called Big Four of grunge, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. But instead of doing a ranking, I'm interested in what their words reveal about the people and the era behind them. First, the social side. Grunge lyrics are a reaction to a generation that was promised stability and meaning, but grew up in a world of economic anxiety, broken families, and deep distrust of institutions. Instead of clear political slogans, we get fragmented lines, sarcasm, and self-mockery, like someone ranting in their bedroom at 3 a.m., not giving a speech at a rally. Nirvana's lyrics often feel like they're attacking both the system and themselves at the same time, which fits a culture where everything feels fake, including your own persona. Pearl Jam leans more into story. Ordinary people crushed by school, media, or family expectations, turning social problems into intensely personal tragedies and stories. With Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, social decay becomes almost physical. Images of dirt, sickness, and rot stand in for a culture that looks normal on the surface but feels poisoned underneath. Grunge lyrics are obsessed with inner conflict. The I in these songs is rarely stable or confident. It changes mood, contradicts itself, and openly admits confusion. That mirrors intrusive thoughts and depressive rumination, repetition, odd phrases, and lines that sound like you're arguing with yourself. Researchers have noted that male singers in this scene used a mix of vulnerability and aggression to talk about trauma, sexuality, and mental health in a new way for rock. You hear "I don't care" in one moment and a confession of shame in the next, which is basically a musical defense mechanism. Push people away while secretly wanting to be understood. In Alice in Chains, addiction and depression become whole landscapes. In Nirvana, fragmented, half-coherent images feel like someone trying to describe mental illness before they have the vocabulary for it. Emotionally, grunge doesn't sit in pure rage or pure sadness. It lives in a kind of numb anger. The guitars scream, but the lyrics often sound bored, exhausted, or quietly horrified, which creates a tension many listeners recognize as this is what it actually feels like inside. Alienation is everywhere, but it's not romantic. You're not the cool outsider. You're stuck, embarrassed, self-medicating, repeating the same patterns. That raw, unglamorous honesty made a lot of young people feel seen for the first time. Not as heroes, but as flawed, confused humans. What's powerful is that by putting all this ugliness and confusion into songs, these bands accidentally built a kind of emotional community. You move from "I'm broken and alone" to "we're broken and alone together," which doesn't magically fix anything, but it makes the pain visible and shareable. Why it still matters now? If you compare these lyrics to today's conversations about mental health and identity, they feel strangely ahead of their time. They undermine the old rock stereotype of the invulnerable frontman by foregrounding doubt, dependence, and emotional collapse. At the same time, they also expose the limits of that era. Therapy is almost absent, self-destruction is everywhere, and women often appear only as symbols or side characters. Taken together, grunge lyrics become a kind of fossil record of how a generation tried to process trauma and disillusionment before we had the language we use today. So when people say they grew up on grunge, they're not just talking about a sound. They're talking about a set of lyrics that did sociology, psychology, and emotional truth-telling all at once, in 3 or 4 messy minutes over distorted guitars. If you want more deep dives and you like the content on channel, consider subscribing. It really helps keeping us alive on YouTube.